Hi, I'm Logan David Leather for boomerscook.com, and welcome to my little Texas kitchen. I'm going to make a frittata in this video, so let's get to it. Okay, camera is down where we can see all the goodies. Okay, 4 ingredients. I've got 3 eggs, to which I'm going to add spices. And while the frittata is cooking, then we're going to add diced sausage, just to give it a little heat, a little flavor. And this is pepperjack cheese. Okay, now what I'm going to put in is minced garlic. You don't have to use these exact ingredients, of course, but you can use it maybe for inspiration. Minced onion. This is Italian seasoning, or an Italian blend. A little bit of salt, sea salt, some fresh crushed black pepper, and a little cilantro. Okay, I'm going to put my little pan on the burner. I just have some plain, I think canola oil or something in there. Normally I use olive oil. I just happen to be out and I don't want to go to the store. So there. You just mix that around like that. You just want to stir up all those ingredients. Okay. Once the pan is hot and your oil is hot, you don't really need a whole lot of oil. It's a non-stick skillet that I'm using, but still, it can stick a little on you. Okay. Now, basically a frittata is an Italian omelet, only you don't fold it. You cook it entirely in the pan, and at some point we're going to try to flip it, and once we flip it, it'll cook from the other side. Okay, it's heating up pretty nicely. Before you put any of your ingredients in, let the eggs start to cook a bit. Okay. You want that heat to start coming up before you put in cheeses, little bits of meat or whatever. A lot of the traditional Italian recipes for frittata that I've seen feature basically leftover pasta, which is a good thing. Apparently that's how they do it there. Okay, now I'm ready to put in half of the little pieces of meat. Whoa. Put in one more. Okay, then we're going to grate the cheese. You don't want to put a whole lot of stuff in here, because the more you put in, the longer it's going to take to cook. Right now it's boiling very nicely. Not boiling, rather. Cooking very nicely. Okay. Now you want to let that heat come up through the egg and melt your cheese. When your cheese is melted, then you've pretty much got it where you want it, and you're ready for the next stage. Now, you see me shaking the pan a little bit. You don't want it to stick, especially if you're using non-stick, stickable cookware. like anything that's not Teflon or, you know, some of the other better, more expensive varieties that I can't afford. But they're nice to look at. I think some of the names are like Tefal and some of the other brands. Now at this point the heat is coming through, and this is on a medium heat. I forgot to tell you that part. It's on a medium to high heat. You don't want too much heat because then the egg will burn on the bottom side. Anything less than a medium high heat, it's just not going to cook. It's going to take forever. Now some of the, well, every American TV cooking show that I've seen has finished cooking a frittata in the oven with the handle sticking out and the door open. Well, you know, that's okay, but I wanted to do it a little bit differently, and I found these older traditional Italian recipes where it's cooked entirely in the skillet. It's not stuck in the oven with the door open and the handle sticking out. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's the way you want to finish it, that's fine. If you don't think you can flip it successfully. The first 2 or 3 of these, I didn't flip successfully. They came apart on me, and it was just, well, it was a big hot mess. It was tasty, but it was still a big hot mess. Okay, our heat's come through pretty good. It's cooking very nicely, so we're going to add the next layer of egg. If this I'm cooking for one person, it's a little bit more than one person can eat. I know what you're thinking. A spoon would have been better than a fork. Well, yeah, it would have, wouldn't it? Oh well, that's not what I did. Okay, and again, you pretty much repeat the same steps as before. You let that second layer start to congeal, start to firm up nicely. And we put in the rest of our meat. Okay, and we're going to put in another layer of grated cheese. You can use, you know, lots of different types of cheeses, whatever your favorite is. I really like the pepperjack because I'm a native Texan and we like stuff hot. Okay, that's pretty much it for the cheese and everything else you see here. Now we're going to do the same thing with this second layer that we did with the first. We're going to let it cook almost all the way through. Now how you're going to know that is the bottom side is going to be a golden brown. We've got a ways to go, and I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll see you on the other side of it. Okay. This is part 2. Now I'm going to put the lid over it. Flip it upside down. It's golden brown on the bottom. A little bit more oil in it. And now, with any luck at all, you're going to slide it back into the pan. Just like that. There you go. Are you as impressed as I am? It's good to get it right. And you only want to give it a couple of minutes in here. Because that's all it's going to take for it to cook, that top side. Now, you can garnish it by putting some more grated cheese on top, or just about anything. You can use some salsa or some pico de gallo if you want to make it, you know, have a southwestern flair. One important note that I forgot to mention about the meat: if you choose to use meat, go with something that's already pre-cooked. You're not going to produce enough heat for it to cook meat. Okay? I mean, that should be self-explanatory, but in case it's not, well, you know, there it is. Okay. It's almost done. I've told you just about everything I know. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes to try to brown up the underside. Doesn't take too long. Well, it'll still take a couple of minutes. Anyway, I'll be back when it's done. Okay, it's just about ready. So I'm going to take some extra sharp cheddar, and I'm just going to kind of garnish it on the top. There we go. Okay. Notice I'll shake it when it's cooking the top side too. I want a little bit more heat to come up to melt the cheese that I just put on there, but not to make it melty and runny and gooey. You don't need to do that. Because that cheese on top is just a, you know, a garnishment. It's not really anything special. If I wanted to make it really pretty, I could put, you know, like parsley on it or something like that. Depending on if you're cooking it for company or whether you're cooking it for yourself. I'm cooking this for me, so it doesn't have to be real pretty. Look how that cheese is melted. Very nice. Okay. Ready to slide it out of there. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Just beautiful. There we go. Okay. All done. And there you have it. A simple Texas style frittata. Anyway, there it is. It's going to be delicious. You can cook it, I mean, you can cut it with a fork, of course. But I'm just going to cut it just to show the insides. Okay. And we're done. Thanks for watching, and good luck on your own version.